Well, let's add another section to our application. For this, we will place a section here that will be responsible for allowing us, with one action, using artificial intelligence, to save multiple products into our database. So, let's add a container widget here as well. We'll compare it in size with the table, add a border radius, and change the color. We add a title. Change the color to white, align it to the center, increase the font size. In this section, we will only need an input widget. From which we completely remove the label. We rename it. And add a button. So by clicking on this button, we will call an app that, based on the decision of artificial intelligence, will save the entire array of products into our database. We change the captions to be entered into these buttons. And add icon. Let's add a new endpoint. We take the link to Node-RED, similarly, from the env, and name the endpoint in Node-RED AI bulk create. We change the method to post and write the body. And we take the entire array of text that will be from our input. This is all we need. Next, we return to the backend. So, to build this flow, we will need two function nodes, one OpenAI uPost node, HTTP in, HTTP response, and HTTP request. So we name the HTTP in node, change the method to post. Next, from this function node, we will make a request to OpenAI, and we name it. The node for manipulating OpenAI. Now we will prepare the information that will be returned to us from OpenAI in order to write to the database. Here, a request will be made to the create product endpoint, which we already had in order not to duplicate the code, an HTTP response so that we receive a response. So, let's start with the OpenAI request node. According to the requirements specified in the OpenAI uPost palette documentation, we need to specify the model we want to use and pass what we want to do in the MSG messages of the previous function. In the settings of the palette itself, you can find out more information about how it works. So, we open our function node and we'll write an array here. My array will look like this. According to the requirements of the OpenAI documentation, which you can read on their website, I need to set two roles. One is the system role, where there will be a detailed explanation of how it should work. How artificial intelligence should work in this case. So, I set the prompt that I need, gave an option of how it should look in the end result. I gave the question of our user here, which I will pass from the UI part as a prompt. This is a link to our node red, the name of the endpoint to which I want to make a request in the future, and I have a full description of how I want to receive the data. That is, it is described here that I want to return the rating in the body, what this rating is. It is a required field, and its type will be a string. Next, each of our parameters is described in the same way. A description of what price is, that it should come in the body, name and price, required with the number type. Similarly for the name, what it is, where it should come, how it should be named, whether it is required, and what data type it should be. That is a detailed description of our request. And in the user role at the moment, I'm not passing anything. And then in the OpenAI UBoss node, I need to select a model. For this case, 3.5 will be enough. Set the maximum number of tokens, possibly even to 2,500. And change nothing else, except that you need to add an OpenAI key. We click Done. So, here. I'm making a change where I need to parse the JSON that will be returned to me from OpenAI. I already know that it will be returned through these paths, so I just paste it here. Next, I need to prepare the link where I want to make a request, since it can be dynamic. I will need to take the URL from my data from UI, as it was written in the previous language prompt. I need to specify the method, which will also be data from UI. And I need my payloads, with which I will make a request to our endpoint to save data into the collection. And it will come in the parameters. So this is all that needs to be done here. And that's it for creating our flow. Next, we open the request node. Here we need to choose that the method will be sent dynamically and change that we want to receive a JSON object as a result. We click Done and Deploy. We return to the UI part, and here in the settings, we increase the timeout to 30 seconds. And let's try. Let's just copy data about books from the Amazon website. We paste it here. And by clicking on this button, we will call the API AI Bulk Create. And in case of success, let's immediately update the data in the table. In case of an error, we'll show a message to try again, which will be a warning. So we click the button, and we see that the data we passed has appeared. Just by copying data from the Amazon website, it appeared in our table. Now, when we select an object, it is also automatically pulled up here. And with one operation, we were able to save multiple records to the database.